Shortstop, probably the best position right now. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express, and if you are watching this on YouTube or anywhere, you're probably wondering, why are they dressed like that? It's Halloween. Happy Halloween. I am Frank Sample, joined by Chris Towers.
Fantasy boost ball today.
Let's take a way too early look at shortstop rankings for next season. And up top, no surprise, Bobby Witt Jr., Elly De La Cruz, and Francisco Lindor are your top three, Chris. Witt and Lindor, two of the most consistent players in fantasy. When you look at Elly De La Cruz, the steals came way down this season from 67 to 37. Turns out he was playing with a quad injury for most of the year. Do you expect him to bounce back to a degree in 2026?
I'm not even sure bounce back is the right word because he took a big step forward in the first half of the 2025 season. And now, look, sometimes guys just get hot for a couple of months. It's entirely possible that that's what it was. But given the talent level of the player we're talking about, given the trajectory that he's on, I was kind of buying. Like he cut the strikeout rate in the first half to below 25%. He'd never been anywhere close to that as a major leaguer. He was hitting for a lot more power. I think it was 25 homers before the All-Star break. He was on pace for a huge season. And then last 3 months of the season, everything kind of moves in the wrong direction. I think he only had 12 steals in the second half, only 6 home runs. He just was not the same guy. I think he just wasn't healthy. And for a player who relies as much on athleticism as Elly De La Cruz, that's always going to hold him back more than anyone else. So, yeah, I guess there's some risk that of some carryover, maybe some risk that, he's more not susceptible to injuries, but maybe injuries will hinder him more than other guys if he has to play through it. But he didn't miss a single game last season, despite dealing with that quad injury. And despite, he had a death in the family that was very difficult for him. So I just think there's a lot of explanations for why Elly De La Cruz's season went wrong. And there are so many ways for things to go right for him. I don't think we're going to see the 60 steals again or pushing to 50 to 70. Even 50 might be asking too much from Elly De La Cruz. But there's legit 30 homer, 40 steal upside here. And if the plate discipline games that he showed in the first half before the injury are real, he might hit 280 too. So I think if you can get Elly De La Cruz like anywhere after the top 6, you should be happy about that.
4, 5, and 6 in your shortstop rankings. You have Gunnar Henderson, Trey Turner, and Mookie Betts. Gunnar Henderson, down season, dealt with that intercostal strain right before the season started during spring training. So I have a hunch that he just kind of battled through that all season long. And Mookie Betts also kind of similarly had an illness right before the season, lost 20 pounds, and kind of feels like that derailed his season as well. Do you expect both of these guys to kind of get back on track, Chris? Or Mookie Betts with the age, is he kind of getting close to that cliff now at this point?
So we'll take Gunnar Henderson first because I think it's all about where you set your expectations. I think the first half of the 2024 season where he had 28 homers and was like neck and neck with Aaron Judge for AL MVP, and I think for the AL home run lead at that time, had a like 950 OPS or something in the first half. He was awesome. In 218 games since then, he has 26 homers and a 990 or 791 OPS. So if you're expecting Gunnar Henderson to be one of the, handful of best hitters in baseball, push a 1,000 OPS, I'm probably out on that. I don't think that's really a realistic or fair thing to expect from him. But that overall 2024 season when he had, I think, 37 homers, hit 280-ish, I think there's a ceiling there that's really, really enticing. And look, the floor is he was still, 20 homers, 30 steals, just about last season. I expect the power to be better. I expect the batting average to be better. I expect the lineup to be better. So Gunnar Henderson, great late first, early second round pick. And, any dip you get on him, I think is worth buying. Betts, it's harder to be quite as optimistic given the age, but I do think, look, losing, 15 pounds after the season started, which is the timing of that for him, that's going to be tough on anyone. And I think with Mookie Betts, you're betting on the elite bat control, which is still there, the ability to hit the ball to the pull side in the air a lot, great lineup, future first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it all points to a bounce back season. That being said, I'm never expecting 30 homers again from Mookie Betts. I think that's asking too much, but 280 batting average, 20 homers, 20 steals, a bunch of runs in RBI, great points league option. I think that's all perfectly reasonable for Mookie Betts.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Welcome back in to FBT Express, taking an early look at shortstop rankings for next season. Chris, 7, 8, and 9. You have Geraldo Perdomo, Corey Seager, and CJ Abrams. Perdomo, the biggest breakout in fantasy this past season. The expected stats by it. When I dug in, I didn't really see much to back up what Geraldo Perdomo just did. Very interested to see where the ADP winds up. What are your thoughts here on Geraldo Perdomo?
This is an intentionally unfair and lofty comparison, but there's a little bit of Mookie Betts in there. Like phenomenal bat control and plate discipline. You know, I think he walked more than he struck out. Strikeout rate was like 12% this year. Pulls the ball in the air a ton, which is going to help him maximize what is, frankly, below average raw power. Although this season, there were signs that Geraldo Perdomo was starting to tap into a little more power. His average exit velocity was up about a mile per hour. And the other thing was from 2021 to 2024, he had 7 batted balls that traveled at least 400 feet. So that's 3 full seasons and a partial one, I believe. 2025, just July, August, and September, he had 7 batted balls that traveled at least 400 feet. So tapping into a little more power there, I mostly buy it. It's going to come down to price. Nobody's going to pay full sticker value for what Geraldo Perdomo did last year. But if it's, he settles in around 50th in ADP, that might be tough to swallow. 70th, I'll draft him a few times. If he gets pushed down to like the 100th range, I'm going to draft a lot of Geraldo Perdomo.
All right, and 10 through 12, you have Zach Neto, Trevor Story, and Bo Bichette. Zach Neto is legit. He looks like a stud in fantasy. Back-to-back 25-25 home run, 25-25 seasons, I believe. Story and Bichette, they stayed healthy. Huge bounce-back seasons for both of them. Do you buy it for both Story and Bichette?
I buy it a lot more for Bichette. I think Story is very, very risky. We don't know where he's going to play. It sounds like he's going to opt in for the final 2 seasons of his contract with the Red Sox, but it's not a guarantee. That's a big question mark. He has that injury history since joining the Red Sox. He's missed so much time. The skill set feels a little iffy, although I will say I kept waiting for the bottom to drop out in 2025, and outside of a really bad May, he was like an 800 OPS bat or better the entire season. It was like one terrible May, and then everything else was awesome, so I mostly buy it for Story and Bichette, but Story, it feels like you're kind of dancing on a knife's edge there with his skill set. I will say, I think 6 through 13, Jeremy Pena's number 13 in my rankings. I think Mookie Betts to Jeremy Pena should all be drafted between like the 40th and 80th pick. And I don't really have a strong take on it. Like, it feels super fungible. If you like Bo Bichette more or CJ Abrams more or Corey Seager more, I think you can make the case, maybe depending on what league you're in or what league depth. I think those 7 guys or 8 guys, whatever it is, are really, really close to each other, and you can't really go wrong. Shortstop's awesome, at least for the first 15 to 17 players. It gets dicey after that, but a lot of really great players here.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express. We'll be back again next week. Happy Halloween. Enjoy. Make sure to stay safe. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.